Hey everybody, it's Dr. Matthew Hertert here again with Centre Chiropractic in Boalsburg, Pennsylvania, just outside State College and Penn State University. Gorgeous fall day here. The football traffic is just starting to let out, so hopefully the audio on this works all right for everybody. But I've been sitting inside doing paperwork for a couple hours and frankly needed a break, so I wanted to share some thoughts I've been developing for young people who are considering chiropractic as a career, or older people like I was when I went back to school. Just like with any profession, especially one that requires a costly education, there are important things to be considered. And when it comes to chiropractic, I think there are two things in particular that you want to be really clear on inside yourself before you decide to choose the profession and before you try and decide which campus to go to, which educational institution you're going to pick. The first thing you got to think about is really, what are your motives? What's your inspiration? What's the drive? What's calling you to chiropractic? Does it just seem like an interesting idea, or do you have something that really touches you about chiropractic in particular? And the second thing, again, is has to do with picking a college campus, picking which educational institution you're going to go to. And what that ties into is a major philosophical difference, a major philosophic divide within the profession that really is going to make a big difference to you, not only in terms of which school you go to, but then also, because the school lays the foundation for the rest of your practice, what your experience is like day to day in practice. So the first part, really is a consideration anybody should have, or probably would have, picking a profession. What is your motive? What's your inspiration? And in particular, there are two things I think to consider about this. One, a lot of the young people who come to me, I'm so close to Penn State and teach there, I get a lot of young interns coming here looking for a place to internship and to learn more about chiropractic. A lot of these young people who have an interest in chiropractic, it's either kind of come up casually during their curriculum, or they have a very sort of satellite inspiration, like a grandparent or a aunt or something who is helped by chiropractic, sometimes a parent, but they don't really have an individual personal experience with chiropractic. And frankly, I think that can be a little bit more challenging. This is an amazing profession. I love this profession. I would never leave this profession if I had the option to do that. And yet it can be pretty challenging, in addition to all the normal challenges in practice with being a caregiver or a doctor in terms of diagnosis and getting good at treatment and trying to get your clients to comply with your recommendations, and the financial stresses. There's something different about chiropractic, which is that there are still some people out there in the world who think that chiropractic is voodoo. They think that it's hooey. So if you have a thin skin, that can be pretty challenging, particularly in the beginning when you're trying to build a practice and figure out how you're going to pay your student loans. So having a personal experience with chiropractic can really fuel or give you a foundation to make it through those tougher times. The other thing I think it's important to consider is that a lot of the young people I meet have gone to shadow, meaning follow around. A practicing chiropractor has been out of practice for a long time and has a really thriving practice. I think a lot of people don't necessarily think forward to graduation to realize that it takes a while, number one, to build a thriving practice. It can take years to build up a really solid client base where you're busy all the time. And number two, they look at the lifestyle these older doctors are living, and they're really turned on by the abundance there. And that abundance is also something you need to consider. Not only does that take a while to develop, because if you don't have a client base yet, you're not going to have the financial abundance, so it takes a while to grow into that. But number two, a lot of these old-time doctors that we go and shadow as we're getting turned on about chiropractic, these guys graduated in the 1960s or 1970s or 1980s when they had maybe a couple $1,000s in school loans. Whereas now, unless you've got a unique situation where you're supported, you're going to come out of school with somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000 in school loans, depending on which campus you go to and how long you stay in school, all that sort of thing. So I don't want anybody to make an uninformed or a disillusioned, meaning an incorrect illusion there of what the reality is financially. I'm not saying it's a bad profession or that you shouldn't choose it, but you got to realize that when you go see somebody who's been established in practice, it looks a lot fancier than it is in the beginning. It takes hard work, dedication, devotion, and patience in the beginning. So those two things I think you should really consider in terms of your motives and your drives and what's inspiring you about chiropractic. The second issue, having to do with the choice of college campuses, potentially could be a very complex conversation, because there are a lot of nuances with regards to this philosophic division within the profession, and I could probably do a 5-10 minute tangent on any one of these points, but I'm going to give you the nuts and bolts here so you really understand the concept. And if you've got more questions, you can do more research online or contact me or go see your chiropractor and ask him about it. in general in chiropractic, just like in a lot of the other complementary and alternative medicines like acupuncture and Rolfing, there are two philosophic sides, or a philosophic division within the profession that's led to the evolution of kind of two opposing factions within chiropractic. On the one hand, you have what we call the straights, and on the other hand, you have what we call the mixers. Straights are people who are turned on by traditional chiropractic, old school chiropractic, which is really focused on the adjustment, adjusting the spine, adjusting the extremities, and even within that, doctors have different motivations. Some are just interested in helping the patient get out of pain. Others are concerned with getting pressure off nerves, which is really my focus. Others are concerned about getting the joints restored into proper, active, healthy range of motion. So again, a lot of motives there, but really the focus is on the adjustment and making that happen for people in a way that's significant and beneficial. Mixers are people who relate a lot more to our status as primary care physicians. In the U.S., it's really just MDs, DOs, and DCs who are primary care physicians. In some states, physical therapists are primary care docs now, I think, too. But they're really more focused on that. So they're interested in being more of a kind of a family doctor, smoking cessation, weight release. They'll often have a lot of modalities in their office, like ultrasound and muscle stim and cold laser and white light therapy, those sorts of things. So neither one is bad. Both people are able to serve and help a lot of people. But there's a major difference here in the philosophy, and one part of the profession wants us to stop talking about the adjustment. They think it's hogwash. A lot of them think it's hogwash or nonsense, that it's holding us back as a profession to keep talking about the adjustment. And the other ones feel like these guys are giving up the essence of what our profession is, which no other profession does. So it's something that's unique about us in a way we're uniquely trained and educated and accredited to assist people. So this has led to a real difference over the last 20 years or so. And during that time, a lot of people in the mixer camp, which is the minority, but they are a very vocal, very active minority, a lot of people in the mixer camp have worked their ways into positions of power within the profession. A majority of the people on the CCE, which is the Council on Chiropractic Education, it's the accrediting body for our profession, meaning they're the group of people that the Department of Education, the U.S. Department of Education, has said, you guys have authority to go out and accredit the colleges, to give them permission to award chiropractic degrees. So not only do they go out and make sure the schools are doing everything properly, they also set the curriculum. They also tell the colleges what they have to teach to the students in order to be properly educated. So a lot of people in CCE are more in the mixer camp. In addition to, in particular, the colleges are headed up by people who are far more in the mixer camp. And that would be Western States in Oregon and National University in Chicago, Illinois. Now, the straight schools like Sherman in South Carolina, Life in Atlanta, and Life on the West Coast, and just as an aside, all the interns who come to me who decide to pursue chiropractic, I always tell them to go to Atlanta, to go to Life there. Not the school I went to. I went to a different school, and I got a really good education there, but I think Life is the cream of the crop in chiropractic education. Those schools, you're still going to get all the correct education because the CC has said, okay, all of you guys have to teach bacteriology, parasitology, virology, renal pathology, all the pathology courses, obstetrics, gynecology, pediatrics. You're going to get that stuff whatever campus you go to because it's required, okay? Where the difference comes is the emphasis on the philosophy. Why are you a chiropractor? Why are you doing what you're doing? Is there a such thing as a misalignment? Is there a such thing as an adjustment? Is it an important thing? And that, as you can imagine, would really translate to what the training you're going to get in terms of delivering the adjustment is and how to do that. So a school like Life, I think, has 12, 15 different chiropractic techniques. There's a lot of focus there. You get regular philosophy courses. So this may sound like maybe not that impactful a difference. I understand it could be confusing in terms of trying to pick a school, but even if it doesn't sound like that should affect the way you're in practice much, what I'll tell you is that over the last few years I've had a lot of young doctors, recent graduates, that I've met at continuing education courses or who've seen one of my videos and contacted me with looking for direction or advice or support. A lot of these young doctors are really struggling to deal with some of those stresses in practice that I mentioned earlier on, particularly the financial ones. They're trying to build a practice, they're trying to start paying their student loans off. If you're faced with all those daily stresses and you don't know what you're supposed to do for people. Am I supposed to do massage therapy or muscle stim or cold laser or adjust them? If you don't know why you became a chiropractor, because there's no such thing as an adjustment, it's really all these other modalities in a family practice kind of a mindset, it is a lot harder to deal with those stresses day to day. Whereas if you come out of a straighter college with a strong conviction and understanding based on the philosophy courses on a mental level of the power of the adjustment and how important it is, which then translates into your adjusting courses, which then translates into your experience adjusting real people in your clinical internship, you come out of school knowing that the adjustment works, knowing how powerful and important it is. And then when you have a tough day with a doctor who told one of your clients that chiropractic is hogwash, or never let them adjust your neck, or somebody nicely trying to be supportive and telling you that they believe in chiropractic as if it's a Christian sect instead of a science, that stuff becomes a lot easier to stomach and a lot easier to work with, because you don't have any doubt that it works. It'd be like if I walked up to you and said, hey, you're a fool because you're blue. You just laugh at me because you know that you're not blue. It would roll off your back. It wouldn't impact you the same way. So having a strong philosophy is really important, and that translates into success in practice. That translates to getting your loans paid off. That translates to living an abundant lifestyle where you're being of service and really helping people. So your choice of campus is essential. You may not get it before you start school. It may be hard to wrap your brain around, but it'll make all the difference in the world. So I beg of you, from the bottom of my heart, if you're somebody who's really turned on and passionate about chiropractic, do not pick your campus based on convenience. Do not pick it based on how close it is to your family. Do not pick it based on whatever kind of financial incentives they're offering you. Pick it based on their philosophy and on how many adjusting courses you're going to get. It's going to make all the difference in the world. So you get out of school, $150,000 in debt, trying to work, working 60-hour weeks, trying to build your practice, but you know why you're doing what you're doing. You got better training, you were able to practice more in school, so you actually see the results with your clients. They're referring their family members and their friends to you. It really makes all the difference in the world. So tried to hold back on the tangents here a little bit, but I really wanted to share that with you guys. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. It's beginning of the year, so I'm starting to get more requests for interns, and I've just been thinking about this stuff. So whatever you guys decide to do, whether it's being a PA or a physical therapist or a massage therapist or a chiropractor, I don't care. I want you in the right place where you can serve people in alignment with your passion. So regardless of what profession you choose, like to you, thank you for wanting to be of service. I hope you have a really successful career. And if you've got questions specifically about chiropractic or any of these details I talked about, feel free to email me or call me at my office on lunch breaks, after hours, that sort of thing. We can set up a time to talk, or post your questions or comments below this video, and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Thanks for your patience with the traffic. It's been nice to be able to do this outside, and God bless you guys. I hope you have a great day and a great career ahead of you. Thanks.